Okay, I think you guys can hear me now. I'm going to talk about novel Sebalik Dinara in translation type of way. I'm going to speak in BM and English, and I'm not gonna completely follow the script, but I do want to mention like some extra stuff that isn't in here. Okay, so first of all, Farisha and Akram met together in a computer convention, and Akram told Farisha to help with this mini project at Soft Lab. So Farisha sent an email to Akram to discuss about the project, and then Akram told Farisha, "Oh, it's actually $1.5 million." So her and her friend Rosman were very surprised, and then they accepted the invite, and they had a meeting with Dr. Maxi. Dr. Maxi somehow knew that Farisha was a hacker in Sharikat Soft Shell, Sharikat Secute Shell, which is a security company, if I'm not wrong, and apparently she hacked into a bank system. She wiped out a bank system, and I'm not so sure what actually happened, but yes, it's there. Menggodam system data bank Sapurba. So we know that Farisha is actually very smart. And then they went to a glass room, and then they saw this person called Carl, who is on the bed, and he had prostate cancer, bara usus. And Farisha was told to try and hack into system Dinara and erase the software. So that and erase the software. She doesn't know why. She was just told to do so. And then the people who will help her will include Akram and Shida. Shida is her apartment friend, but I'll get more to that later. And Farisha started to know more about this weird project. Okay, perumitan. So Akram brought Farisha to the data room and showed her how the operation of Dinara works. And while Dr. Maxi, Akram and Carol Anwar, which are basically the workers in Soft Lab, they thought that maybe Shida should be the backup plan. If Farisha somehow doesn't work, they will use Shida instead. So apparently, Dr. Maxi was fixing Aliyah, who is a cyborg that has feelings. I'll get more to that later as well. And then Akram tells Farisha that the Dinara is actually hacked into, and there's a time bomb inside the thing. So Farisha is supposed to fix and try and defuse it, or remove the virus, something like that. But then during that time, while she was doing it, while she was communicating with Carl to know more about it, I forgot. I know that she was communicating with Carl. I think it was like 1, 2, 3 times, and like during those three times, she received a file from her brother Azrai. Azrai got into a heart attack, and he didn't want to die without telling Farisha that she was adopted. So she sent the letter, or the official slip, showing that Farisha is actually adopted. And Farisha was very surprised by this. He's only a anak angkat. She was actually anak kronika. But again, I'll get to more of that later. Then Farisha tidak bermaya lagi, had no more energy to communicate with Carl. So they used Shida as their backup plan. So see, Azrai menceritakan microchip yang ditanam dalam tubuh Farisha. So I think it was at the hospital. There is a microchip in Farisha's body. So Farisha is actually a cyborg. I forgot, but there is something connected to her, which allows other people to access her. But again, later, Shida is the backup, but then Shida had a huge complication, and then Shida suddenly said random stuff. And then they were like, should we just erase Shida's memory? But then Dr. Maxi said, nah, we want to see what actually happens in her first. So in the hospital, like when she was under treatment, Farisha heard a woman who called her daughter anak, while she was sleeping. Farid and Amin, who were Medina's helpers, Marilyn at Medina, they are her helpers, and they were like, what the hell are you doing? And then Marilyn said that, oh, I already met my daughter. So yeah, the mother's voice is actually from Marilyn. And then okay, so after the recovery, Azrai gave another file which is from her late father, from their late father, and then that file is extra proof that Farisha is actually adopted, and Farisha's actual mother is Marilyn, who is Portuguese, and at the hospital, Farin Amin tried to kidnap Farisha, so Azrai tried to save her, but Farisha got kidnapped anyway, and then she was brought to a random area. Azrai told Rosman to help find. Marilyn or Medina got in contact with Farin Amin while bringing Farisha there, and then when Farisha reached there, Farisha finally saw her mother. Well, in Soft Lab, Shida somehow has Carl's mindset. Carl's mind is in Shida. So Alia tried to know more about Carl's stuff, and there are a lot of stuff that came out about Alia. But again, I'll mention about all this later. And then Farisha met her mother. Pelarian dalam novel ini, so Dr. Maxi received news that Carl is about to die, and then Farisha met her father, Carl, who is about to die, and then Marilyn also came and apologized to Carl, and then they made up, and then Carl passed away, and then Carl got buried in Selat Melaka because Carl wanted to. But then after the burial phase, Shida started acting weird, and we realized that Shida is actually turned into Carl. So now Carl is in Shida's mind, and now Shida is no longer Shida. Shida is now Carl. Then Carl told Farisha not to worry too much, and Farisha should just continue trying to save Soft Lab. Okay, so that's basically what happened. Now the main thing that you have to know is not only the storyline but also the characters. You don't have to know like the nilai, persoalan pengajaran and so on. You just have to know what happened and who is in the story. So the main character is Farisha. Farisha is very smart. As we know, she hacked Bank Sapurba, menggodam data di Bank Sapurba. So you have to know that. But Farisha is very smart. Farisha is also adopted, anak kronika, because actually she was a product of Marilyn and Carl. Yes, Marilyn and Carl actually had some babies, one baby, but they didn't get married. Again, I'll get to that after that. Farisha also. Farisha, you can say that Farisha is very forgiving, because Farisha forgave Marilyn and Carl and accepted them as her parents. Also, you can also say that Farisha is very you can say Farisha is very smart, very forgiving. You can also say that Farisha is very brave, because she was willing to sacrifice herself to talk to Carl. You can say that she is a very strong woman because she had to go through all of this. Okay, now her friends. First of all, her brother, Azrai. Azrai is her abang angkat, and Azrai is actually a very loving type of brother. A bit too loving, very overprotective. For example, if you do the exercises, you'll know that Azrai memasang retinal scanner di rumah Farisha, because he wants to check on Farisha to see if she's safe or not. Azrai also connected their intercom. I think it was Farisha's intercom to his intercom. So basically, he tried to make sure that Farisha is safe. If you those are the two questions that normally came out. When we were doing petikan, that came out in the thing. But yeah, it's proof that Azrai is actually very loving of a person. And then thirdly is Shida. Shida is the friend of Farisha, who lives in the same apartment. She used to be a lawyer, but then she didn't like it, and she became a writer, a journalist. Shida is actually also very smart, because she is a lawyer, and then she is very brave for being willing to be the backup for Farisha, and I will feel bad for her, because I will feel bad for Farisha as well, because Farisha is adopted and then she just realized it after 26 years, 26 tahun. But I will feel bad for Shida as well, because Shida was not actually supposed to be involved in everything, but then because Farisha was injured, Shida became possessed by Carl, and then now Carl is Shida. Okay, and then Rosman is just Farisha's workmate at her old company, Sharikat Secured Shell. And basically, she's one of Farisha's good friends. And then that is for her close friends and family. For SoftLab punya employees, the owner of SoftLab is Carl. Carl is a very evil person because and he's the founder of SoftLab. He's the one that creates all these cyborgs. So he has a few creations. Number one is his brother Akim. Akim, who became Akram. So Akram is actually his brother who is disabled, terencat akal. And because of that, Carl wanted to change him, so he changed him into a perfect person, very handsome, very smart, very cool type of looking guy. So his name is Akram. So Akram is considered the most successful cyborg. But an example of an unsuccessful cyborg would be Rusmina, because or Alia, because Rusmina is actually Carl's ex-wife, or Carl's wife. But because Carl didn't want to convert to Islam, even though Rusmina asked back there too, Carl basically abused her and beat her up, and then turned her into a cyborg called Alia. But the thing is, Alia isn't that successful of a cyborg because Alia still has feelings. She gets jealous very easily. So because of that, your Dr. Maxi had to has to reset her every once in a while. Another one of those workers is Khairul Anwar. Khairul Anwar is actually a penyeluk saku, pickpocketer, one of those like in the streets stealing your money type of person. And he tried to steal Carl's money once, but then Carl beat him up, and then turned him into a cyborg as well. And now his name is Khairul Anwar. And then Carl had an affair with Medina to make Farisha. Medina or Marilyn, her name is actually Marilyn. She is actually very smarter than Carl actually. But Carl got jealous and sabotaged her, and made her half crazy. The way he made her half crazy is by turning Marilyn's adding a mindset of a person in jail into Marilyn's mindset. So now Marilyn has a mind of a normal person and the mind of someone in jail. So she is half crazy. And then Marilyn has two helpers, which are Abin and Farid, which are the two people that tried to kidnap Farisha. Okay, so normally if they ask questions about novel, the way they will ask questions is there are two questions. One is based on the text. Number two is saya telah mengkaji novel di sebalik dinara karya what is it called again? I forgot the name. Karya Dayang Nur. Yeah. Di sebalik dinara tingkatan 4 karya Dayang Nur. But to be honest, I do not know much about this story because I don't even have the novel. So I'm going to this based on teacher's explanation, and I hope that I explain the important parts. If not, then wish me luck. So yeah, again, there are two questions. One is 4 marks, the other one is 6 marks. So the 4 marks is basically based on the text. You just have to find 4 points and answer them. And then there's a K-BAT question, which is 6 marks. And the K-BAT question is you have to first of all say saya telah mengkaji novel di sebalik dinara karya Dayang Nur. And then after that you have to mention 1 isi 1 huraian and then 1 isi 1 huraian. So the main difference between this and normal K-BAT is if they ask you the question you only mention the peristiwa first, and then you mention the reason why you chose the peristiwa. So you mention the question later. Like for example let me just look at the question. Berdasarkan novel yang anda kaji, jelaskan message penting daripada penulis yang boleh kita teladani. So you are that saya telah mengkaji novel di sebalik dinara karya Dayang Nur. And then after that you write salah satu message penting daripada penulis adalah tentang kasih sayang terhadap keluarga. So you mention the peristiwa first. Yeah, you have to mention the peristiwa first, which is kasih sayang terhadap keluarga. And then why do you want to talk about kasih sayang terhadap keluarga? So the reason is we have to meladani Azrai yang mengambil berat akan keselamatan adiknya Farisha. Selain itu terdapat mesej tentang sikap rasional dalam membuat keputusan. kita boleh meneladani Farisha yang telah berfikir dan berbincang dengan abangnya Azrai sebelum menerima tawaran daripada Akram untuk bekerja di soft lab. So you see that the way they answer kan is what they talk about the main topic first. They talk about the main. They don't talk about what normally when you write novel kan, you write the huraian and then the contoh kan. But for this one, you write contoh and then huraian. But for a question like this kan, the one that I mentioned just now, this one is a bit more different because the contoh is the huraian or something like that. But basically what I'm trying to say is kan, you want to mention the main topic in the second sentence. Yeah, you want so like for example kan, if they ask for what apa yang mengagumkan anda, then you have to say the peristiwa first, and then you say peristiwa itu mengagumkan saya kerana. So you want to explain, so you want to give out the peristiwa